Welcome back to the Fuel Your Legacy podcast. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a newer, stronger foundation essential in creating your meaningful legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. As much as you like this podcast, I'm certain that you're going to love the book that I just released on Amazon, Fuel Your Legacy, The 9 Pillars to Build a Meaningful Legacy. I wrote this to share with you the experiences that I had while I was identifying my identity, how I began to create my meaningful legacy, and how you can create yours. You're going to find this book on Kindle, Amazon, and as always on my website, samknickerbocker.com. Welcome back to Fuel Your Legacy, and today we have a guest from the smartest place on earth. Now, we're recording this during coronavirus, and they're the only country that I'm aware of that didn't lock everybody down. So they're the smartest country on earth, in my opinion, at this moment in time.
I take that really personally now.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, it's awesome. Anyway, super excited. I'm going to butcher his name, but forgive me. You're going to see his name here, and you can do your best shot, and then he'll say his name so you can tell how bad I did it. But his name is Matt Fyrörn.
It's a really good try.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But what's cool about Matt is he is a husband, he's a dad, entrepreneur, podcast host himself, which he's going to tell more about his podcast. But he's a committed man and likes to invite other men to challenge themselves and live their life's purpose, passion, power, and profit, right? In the past decade, you have to think about what makes people who they are. And that's what I love about bringing people onto the show and getting to really talk about their legacy is we're talking about what are the foundational things that make somebody who they are and what do they make out of those experiences. So over the past decade, he's been through bankruptcy, depression, loneliness, being lost. He's also experienced being a husband, a dad, and an entrepreneur. So those can be like completely polarizing experiences and yet all be happening at the same time. So how does one deal with that? Since then, he's actually sold 2 businesses. He's got a happy marriage, and now he's learned and trained himself how to show up fully in all areas of his life. And dedication is the way, not perfection. So I love that because it's just being committed to growth, not necessarily assuming that's all going to happen all at once. So thank you so much, Matt, for showing up and being here and present with me today. Go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us your story, and kind of lead into what your legacy is. What are you doing right now?
Thank you so much for a beautiful introduction. I'm super grateful, super pumped to be here together with you. We are traveling the world. We're bringing the world together from Sweden and Utah and every places in between. So I'm super excited. And I love your question. Is like, what's the story and where to start? So I'm as inspired as confused with that. So I will play with that and then we'll see where we go. But I want to touch back on one important moment. And that is a man, to start from a completely different point. Some 5 weeks ago, I was in the process thinking on who are the men in my life on whose shoulders I stand upon. Who are the men who has led me to be the man I am, who has been touching my heart and my mind and my soul to bring me to where I am. And after that, I made a long list of men from my father and grandfather and many men like celebrities and also personal mentors. And I created an image. I have it right in front of me now of about 30 men. Some you know, some you don't know. And one of the men who was really instrumental to me was a man called Mats Holmberg. And he was a leader in the network marketing field. And what happened there was that I came from high school, and I was lost, as you know, a lot of young kids are. I didn't have any confidence. I'd just been with an older girlfriend for like 3 years, and she was all I had. And I stopped playing ice hockey. I'd been playing for my whole life, and I was really confused and really lost. And you know, I had felt these moments like I have something of greatness inside. Can you resonate with that? Like there's something great wanting to come out, but I barely experienced it. I for sure did not know how to produce it. I didn't know how to get it out there on demand. And then on this stage of this network marketing company that I haven't been involved with for at all, basically, but there was this man, Mats Holmberg, and he spoke about living your dream. He spoke about that you can become anything that you want to become. And he spoke, and I started to cry. And I was not a man or young man at that time that was comfortable crying, but with his emotion, his passion that he went to share about his story, the stories he had overcome, and you can make it to this stage, and you can inspire like I did. That was kind of his message. And that made my eyes tear up. And that's a very important moment for me, because then I really could get an image of someone who had put themselves on fire. Really, like what you speak about, fuel the legacy. He had done that and turned it from nothing to something. So I would say I was 18 years old at that time, and that would be like the first time we're like, oh, there is something beyond the little me that is judging myself, that is questioning myself, that doesn't think much about me or what I can become. Sure, having some dreams, but having a way there, well, there was like no connection to that place. So I think that Mats Holmberg, I didn't speak to him for 15 years, but now I look at him daily on my second computer screen right above here. And he's touching me with this message, like, you can. And from that place, I went on to kind of go into anything that could give me results. I got really turned on by anything that could give me, money, anything that could show me the green numbers. I went into sales, and what we did in sales was really powerful, because we always had a whiteboard, and every morning the sales manager, if we did a good day the day before, we got green numbers on the board. If we got red numbers, it was bad. Then we had failed the day before. And I still kind of have anxiety over these colors. If it's red, like, it hurts in my body. But it was very motivating. And for me, what happened, it came from hockey. Ice hockey a couple of years before, was being part of a team, was being part of something that was greater than myself. Partly, of course, I could blend in kind of to the tribe, but mostly that I could also so easily, everyone with the same rules. There was only one thing was valuable: produce results, and then you're valuable. And for me, that was a very valuable equalizer, because then my insufficient kind of social skills, my inability to connect to girls or any of these things didn't matter. If I could sell, I was kind of appreciated and approved. And I think what that brings back to, obviously, is about approval. And that's the journey I'm still on today, like the longing for approval, but now it's not projected as much as it is now, because then I needed to even like feel good to like wake up. I need someone else to say like, I'm okay, or you're okay. Today, I don't have that on a daily basis, but I go into that kind of those depths sometimes even today. But it was a very, very important journey of like, if you're willing to do the hard work, and that led to basically 18-hour work weeks in employments like that, that definitely led that like the first foot forward to whatever. If you're willing to put in the work, you can do it. And in the end, that took a turn of also these companies. It was very clear, like these guys that worked there were really focused on money. And I liked that too. I got the reward, the success, and I was like 19 years old, making my first kind of 10K salary in a month. That was like amazing. But it still, it was so clear, if I didn't play the rules, I wasn't valuable either, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it was like this. It wasn't genuine. It wasn't really caring about people. It was caring about people and it was both good and bad in that journey for me. But basically, this company, one of these companies I worked for, it went bankrupt, and that was my chance to start my own thing. And that was the first business I started with the idea. I had a friend who knew about a berry called the goji berry. Do you know about that?
I feel like I've heard about it, but I don't know much about it.
It's like a Chinese raisin that's really healthy. It's a red Chinese raisin. But yeah, I heard about it, and he said like, this is going to be a really popular thing. So we were had been in Mastermind for quite some time, also kind of to feed this, like, there is some greatness inside. I want to express it. I want to live this greatness, but we didn't know how. But we started reading a book I still have on my desk today. It's called Think and Grow Rich. Did you read that?
I'm actually, I reread this book probably 2 to 3 times a year. And right now I have 2 hours left on Audible, and I'll be done with it for a second time this year. So yeah.
Beautiful.
That one is Outwitting the Devil is another one that I read regularly.
Yeah.
So
I didn't check that one out yet, but so
that one's good.
need to add it to my list.
Yeah, that one's a life-changing. So he wrote Outwitting the Devil right after. So he published Think and Grow Rich, and then he went from like a high to like extremely depressed. People were trying to kill him. Like it was not good. And so he had to go into hiding. And then that's when he had this experience with what he calls the devil in his like imaginary meetings. And so then that's what that book is about him now going through and having to apply and put into practice everything he just wrote about in Think and Grow Rich. So anyways, it's a fascinating.
That's smashing. I love that. Yeah. I love the concept. And for me, like the biggest takeaway from this book that I integrate a lot in my life is the Mastermind, definitely. And that's actually like the story I told you about the men I have on my screen here. That's also my Mastermind I have every day. So just like Napoleon Hill, he went into conversation on a daily basis with Andrew Carnegie, with Thomas Edison, with these amazing men. He went in conversation with them on a daily basis to get their counsel. So it's just that I'm doing that on a bit more 21st century version with images of these celebrity guys on my screen. But it's really that same concept. And that's where me and my then partner came into. Like we started a mastermind and also had this sense of like immense personal growth after like 2 years in the mastermind. It's like we need to give this energy away. And I think that's so beautiful. Like we all have this energy, potential energy in us, but like how can we actually kind of harvest that and channelize it in a way that leads to something great? That was basically our question. It's like, let's do this goji berry thing. And we started that business. And then something that is a big lesson that I'm working to remember is that I was great at doing sales because I've been doing that for 5, 6, 7 years. So I went to that business. I started doing sales, and we had like record week by record week, and we were profitable after basically 2 weeks. We had a really good business. But then I sold so much that after 6 months we were overwhelmed by administration and production, because it was like a production-based business. Like we import, export, packing bags and distributing. Like I was overwhelmed with that. And then I did this, I think the most stupid move in business I ever did. And it was I stopped selling to take care of the accounting. Like everyone understands that's the last thing you should do, but I did that because of the chaos. Like someone needed to take action, so I did that. And that anyway, I couldn't do that. I probably made a bigger mess. And looking a few years after that, that led to the bankruptcy of that business. But here's the fun turn in that business had been running from the mindset of we can do it by ourselves. Kind of this masculine pride, like, yeah, I'm strong. I don't need any help. I'm strong. I can take care of it. And what happened there was that we didn't ask for any accounts. We didn't ask for advice. But on the day of bankruptcy, I was, I'd lost a lot of money, wasted. I had like 17-hour working days with just like a newborn baby. So it was like a lot of anxiety of not being the guy I wanted to be in an area of my life. But I needed help. That was very obvious. Like I know I couldn't handle this myself. And that was the first time I actually authentically asked someone, can you help me? I'm desperate, man. Just help me. And it was beautiful. This first time I spoke to a business consultant, like a lawyer, business consultant guy. And he asked me a bunch of questions. And within half an hour, he kind of explained my business that I've been running for 5 years in a way I've never seen it before. And then he got some smile on his face, like, we can fix this. like, what do you mean? We have debt. We don't have any money on the bank account. What can we fix? This is like dead. It's impossible. He's like, yeah, we can do it. And it's like, okay, show me how. Can you do that? And he said, yeah. And then he started like drawing out on the whiteboard some more. And within another half an hour, he created like a 6-month plan of how we would take care of this business. The business couldn't succeed because it went bankrupt, but he showed me how I could buy back the assets. And what happened during these 6 months was like I took this business from bankruptcy that with 23 employees and way too many hours and big losses. And then after 6 months, I was the only one in the company. And we only had people working for like consultants, and it was profitable, working 10-hour weeks. And 2 of those 10 hours were working with our ambassadors going for workouts. So that's like very, very big. And for the first time in many years, I was actually in control of my time. So speaking to kind of the dreams, for me, it's been like, if there's a chance, let's dive into it. But it's always been this like intense questioning: will it work out? Am I enough? And if I don't work it out, is then the proof that I kind of suck and that I fail. And for me, one of the biggest resistors to being able to step up to live my fullest is to, if I give it my all and I still fail. I think that's one of my biggest fears. Does it make sense?
Uh-huh.
So if I give my all and that doesn't work, then I don't have anything else to give. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's the introduction, a little bit here and there.
I'm excited. So there's a lot here that I want to really highlight and pull out, because I think it's, again, my objective from my position. I go back and re-listen to all these podcasts so that I can actually learn stuff. But right now, I'm thinking of what questions would somebody else want to know the answers to, and sometimes what question is nobody thinking of that they should be thinking of. So one of the things that I love about this is, and you tied it in later, which is awesome, but who are the people that have helped you? And I don't think I've ever done that, honestly. So I'm going to do that as far as really write down a list of all the people who have become influential in my life, or that I'm standing on the shoulders of, or have given me either a positive or negative experience. Doesn't really matter which one, but have shaped who I am today. I mean, I know probably on one hand, I know who the top 5 are, but I haven't really gone down a deeper list to see, okay, and maybe in other areas who's impacted me. So I want to do that. And then I love how you tied that in later when you're talking about your mastermind and creating I've always thought of having a vision board. I've had vision boards where you put up kind of the lifestyle that you want, or the things you're trying to accomplish or go after. And I've thought about it from that perspective, but I haven't ever created a mastermind vision board of the people that I would want to have their advice. And there's a saying in English, maybe I don't know what it would be in Finnish, but like what would Jesus do? In Christianity, people ask themselves that question, how would Jesus respond? He'd have compassion, he'd have love. Okay, so I can respond the same way. And that's a way to kind of check, is our response in alignment or out of alignment with our highest self, is how I would describe that in non-religious terms. But same thing could be really beneficial if you're sitting there with a business problem or a life problem, because all successful business people, they also have lives as well. Most of them have wives and children and sisters and brothers and mothers and fathers, so they're managing all that as well. We just see them as these business icons because that's our experience of how we know them, but there's so much more to these people. And so I love that, having their face in front of you and say, hey, what would this person do in this situation? How many hours would this person work? How would he present? How would he call or talk to this individual, this client, this upset client, this person is excited, So I love that idea.
What it really ties into is like the beingness of us, because instead of achievement is actually easy, but becoming is the hard part. Like when we are becoming, we act as if, right? It's like if we speak about Jesus, or we speak like I have Tony Robbins on my screen as well. And it's like, okay, so if I would act as Tony would act right now, how would I act then? So and it's inevitable that I would create the same results if I just act that way. So it's like, and then the lifestyle, whatever it is, like it's not a question. It's like, it's not even difficult. Another way of looking at this is, going into the future, like going into the legacies. I do the death meditation, or the meditation of, on my own funeral. What will my children say about me? And it's like a super powerful tool, because then I can go, okay, I want them to say this and that, but how do I have to live today for them to say that? If I die tomorrow, if I die in 70 years, how do I have to live today?
Yeah,
and then it goes all about there's no guesswork. I don't need to try anything. I can be it, because I already know, like, even though I'm, in a box on my funeral, I can still feel how I will look at them from above when they're giving their speech of love to their dad. I can still feel that, And then if I can't feel that now and act from that place, I'm out of integrity with who I am truly, who as you said, my higher self are to be. So there's no separation. We, like the illusion of time, we just can compress it like that through that kind of visualization, meditation, and then we can be.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the reasons why I started this whole brand, Fuel Your Legacy, and specifically the podcast, is because, and the books that I've written, because my belief is that you can't get to 60, 70, 80 years old, be on your deathbed, and people be like, man, I hope people remember me this way. It's like, look, if you didn't live a life that way, then they're not going to remember you that way. They're going to remember you how they experienced you. So if you want them to remember you a certain way, then you need to give them the experience that you actually want. And so regret tends to be the number one cause, or not cause, but number one thing that people wish they would have done different on their deathbed, is they're regretting things. I don't want you to regret anything. If you intentionally plan, like you're saying, visualize and plan out and create that on a daily basis, then that's the best way to live, especially I toyed with the Live Your Legacy title, but I liked Fuel Your Legacy because it crosses over into how I help people from a financial perspective. Because your legacy is how people are going to remember you. The fuel is so that you don't have to worry about how you're going to feed yourself. That's the money aspect. And also the identity. So yeah, I love that. Another thing that you said that was interesting was that you were sitting there listening to this person. You had something inside of you. You knew you wanted to express it, but you didn't know what it was you wanted to express, or even how to express it. You just there was a recognition of greatness inside of you without any outlet of what that greatness was going to turn into. But I think what's crucial is, you said once that struck that nerve, then you started to cry, and you're not a crier. So in one of my journals, it's called the Fulfillment Journal, it's one of the questions I have people ask when they're writing down what fulfills them, and then like, what makes you cry? Like what makes you cry tears of joy or happiness or light, you could say, or what makes you laugh or smile uncontrollably, right? Like you just can't help but smile. So when I see my kids walk, or my little boy right now, he's in a phase, he's about a year and 2 or 3 months, and he'll run up to you with his arms stretched up and then just like give you a big hug around the neck and stick his face on your cheek and just sit there, right? That's fulfilling. There's no like, I'm not looking to get anything out of that interaction. I just love that he loves, you know? So I have people write that down and journal about that at the beginning of the month, and then schedule in at least one of those experiences every day of their life. So they're living fulfillment every day, because everybody has stuff we have to do. I mean, you have stuff you have to do inside of a business that is just, it is what it is. You know, you don't love every aspect of everything you do in life. Maybe you do if you train yourself to, but there's some things you love more than others. And that's okay. But we need to make sure that we're doing at least one thing that gives us that tears of joy or uncontrollable laughter or smiles, whatever, every day. So we're experiencing that fulfillment. So I love that. And then another thing.
And to reply on that, like I think it's about like the legacy. It's easy to come as an illusion to something that will happen later on. But our legacy is today. Like today, I'm living the legacy of yesterday, and to fulfill that moment, because legacy is not like, again, life is not a destination; it's an experience of moments. So if I can't like breathe in the legacy now, there will not be a legacy.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love it. I'm glad that I think you're probably one of maybe 3 people that I've had on my podcast that I would say is experiencing their life that way, and would explain it the same way that I would explain. So I love that. Part of it,
and I think it's important. Like, and it's still not, it's not without pain. It's not without struggle. It's not without frustration. Right. But and what is really important, like I love, Mark Manson. You know who that is? An amazing author. But anyway, he says something along the lines like, the desire for positive experience is in itself a negative experience. And paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is in itself a positive experience. And so we have there as achievers, we want to achieve, we want to create an amazing legacy. But by wanting that, we're actually stopping ourselves in this moment to go into scarcity mode where we are not enough, where our world is not enough, where our families are not enough, where our business is not enough, and go into pain. And then we can create from pain, and nothing ever has been created of abundance and beauty out of pain. But then if we instead say, okay, my business is at this level, I want it at this level, or I want the intimacy in my marriage to be this and that. But I go there from a space of gratitude and acceptance from the things that I don't not perfect, but I embrace that, and that is my legacy. It's embracing the things that are not perfect, and a dedication to grow and to learn, but not from a place of pain, but from a place of beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you heard of Ed Milet before?
Yeah.
So Ed Milet, he has a phrase that I just love, but he calls it just being blissfully dissatisfied. So you're absolutely you're blissfully happy and not necessarily content, although you can use the word content, but you're soaking up in full gratitude everything that you've achieved, everything that you are currently, all of your experiences currently, and there's a recognition that there's more, and how can we become and accomplish more and achieve even a greater potential. So I love the idea of being blissfully dissatisfied with where we're at. Another thing that we have to think about in our lives that he brought up, and for better or worse, right? But our anchors. And so I'm curious for the listener, you got to think about what are your anchors in life, and what are your anchors of success or of failure? What is it that are anchoring you there, right? So he used the example of he has leaders, mentors, people that have impacted his life. Those are anchors of success, and people that he masterminds with. He has anchors to these colors, right? Green is a good thing. Red is not a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. And those are things that were anchored into him either by choice or by circumstance and environment. And there's not necessarily bad, right? When I'm helping somebody with their money, there's hey, we could try and rehaul everything you believe about money, or we could say, what's your normal spending habit? Most people, they look at their bank account and they determine whether they can spend money or not based on if there's money in their bank account. Okay, that's the habit. Now, it's not good or bad. That's just the habit. Now, somebody who is wealthy, and has more money than they could imagine, they don't look at their bank account to determine whether or not they can spend money. Mm-hmm. However, if that's your habit already, rather than telling you that's a bad habit and you should change it, why not use it? The only thing that's different is we're going to add another habit in, which is going to automatically save money, pull it out of that account first, so that now when you look at it, you run out of money a little bit sooner, but you've already saved, right? So now you're still able to maintain your habit of determining whether you can spend money or not, but you've already saved money, rather than saving money at the end of the month when there's nothing left because you spent it all. So using anchors are good. You can make any anchor work for you. You just need to know how to do so. So I don't think there's anything bad, good or bad. It's just how do you use these anchors, and are you conscious of applying them properly? Anyways, what are your thoughts about that?
I just love this concept. It's so smashing. As you said, there is no good or bad with the habits we have. It's the question is, how do we make our way of functioning or dysfunctioning to be beneficial, to be constructive for us and not destructive? And that's the only question. So for me, I speak about it in different words. So the world is addicted to tactics and strategies. So if we look at anyone starting out as entrepreneurs, this is the best time to start online business. It's ever been better. It's so amazing right now. Mm-hmm. And then we go into the strategies. How do you do online marketing? And who knows that? About 2 million people says, I have the best strategy to do online marketing. And most of these strategies actually do work, but only if there's one thing that is right. And then we can go back to Think and Grow Rich. So what these guys, there are some strategies in here, but they only work if the anchors are right, or as I call it, if the system is right. So the system is the determinator of success. Mm-hmm. It's not the strategy. So I have developed a framework that is not my original, but I package it a little bit different, and it's called the alchemic process. And it's 4 parts. And I use that for everything I do on my clients. And the power is it's easy to get started. First, we start with the goal. We want to achieve something. It's financial success in our business, our marriage, with our kids, whatever it is. So we have a goal, and step number one is not the goal; it's the strategy. So the proven strategy is to go from point A to point B. Always, no matter what you want, there's always a proven strategy to do it. A lot of people try to figure things out themselves, but there are proven free strategies out there. It's like just grab one of those. But that is not enough, because you're doomed to fail any strategy you attempt to take upon you if you don't have the other 3 points. The second point is accountability. So if you're not accountable to someone else, you're doomed to fail. And I had to learn that the hard way, because I tried to, like, I've been running a business for like 11 years, and I started my coaching business like 1.5 years ago, and I thought this will be easy because I know business. It wasn't. I thought I will be profitable in 30 days. It took 4 months before my first profitable month. I think it took 9 months before I was profitable every month. Like 9 months. And I know business. I've been doing all kinds of things, right? But I couldn't get it to work. And that was because I lacked accountability, and I was consumed by this shiny object syndrome that everyone has today. If you say you don't have it, you're fooling yourself. Everyone has it to one degree or the other. So after the accountability, we have learning. So when we have a strategy, we take action with accountability, and then we learn what outcome we got from taking that action. And the fourth step is to implement that learning into the strategy and improve the strategy, and then we go around again. But the power of this is that we can actually start with a really, really bad strategy. If we have the worst strategy in the world, but we have these 3 other steps, we will, in a while, when we go a few rounds, we have an excellent strategy that actually produces results. Mm-hmm. So this is a system, and it's called the alchemic process. It means that we can put in lead, that is an impure metal that is not worth anything, basically, and on the other side, it will come out gold. Mm-hmm. So who would like that, right? Exactly. Who would like that? But it's like, and there's no guesswork. If anyone is tapping into that process with these 4 steps and staying on that course is inevitable. And for myself, I've been like, the level of, for me, anchors, it's accountability. It's like, I don't have a problem. I'm super dysfunctional. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm probably not, if I'm not accountable. But I don't have a problem with that because my accountability systems are insane. There's so many people checking in on me all the time.
So you can't fail.
No, I can't fail.
And I think that's what's key, is understanding, because accountability. So that there's another book that I've read. It's called The 4 Tendencies, and people are. It's basically how people deal with inner expectations of themselves and outer expectations. So if somebody else expects something of them, they respond differently than an expectation of themselves. And different personality types need different forms of accountability, and some need more than others, and they need maybe help with one of the other 3 steps. Accountability is always going to be key, right? You can't get rid of accountability, but some people, like for my wife, she needs an accountability partner, but she hates being accountable. And so to somebody, she hates saying no to somebody, and that actually deters her from doing it, and she'll start ghosting them or avoiding them. And so the best type of accountability for her is like an app or something, because she gets satisfaction from putting a check mark or something like that. And it's like, okay, whatever fills you up, great. For me, there's you could ask about somebody's progress, about like, hey, are you hitting your goals? Are you hitting your targets? Things like that. That doesn't motivate me, because for me, I'm more committed to my own inner goals, and I couldn't care less about what somebody else expects of me. Like, I'm glad that you have an expectation. Good for you. But I only care about my inner expectations. So when somebody is going to follow up with me, if I have a leader who's following up with me, then they can't ask me about targets or goals or numbers or stuff like that, because that doesn't matter. What matters to me is, did you live your legacy today? Did you do your best work? Are you becoming the person you want to become? And I know that for me to become the best person I can be, then yes, there's these numbers, and I can keep track, but I don't want you to remind me of my numbers. Just ask me about, am I becoming who I want to become? Right? So everybody needs a different way to be accountable, but you can't get rid of accountability. So he's put in structures to make his accountability bulletproof, which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah. And I haven't heard these parts before, so I'm really excited to dive deeper into those. And it's really like the admit that we are not okay by ourselves, that like we do need other people. And if we're not accepting that, I will fail. Everyone will fail, and like that is okay. And if we look at the most successful people, no matter area it is, they have ridiculous accountability. Like a CEO, has accountability from the board, from the shareholders, from the clients, from the staff, and from all the clients. Like it's so many points of accountability. So it's like, and that's why they perform. Like they can't do anything else because so much positive expectation that they choose to commit to. And I think that's another part. Like we need to, like that I'm into, like how can I choose and commit? Like this is here's the situation, and I need to go into my power, like of taking action. So for me, I go into kind of dysfunction and distress if I say like here's the situation that's put on me, and it's someone else's fault. Like I'm a victim.
Yep. Yeah. And so you have to choose into whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm a victim, if I go into a situation when I'm a victim, the problem is I can't make a difference. If I'm a victim, I can only give up or blame. And that's also giving up because then it's not up to me.
Yep.
So for me, that's like definitely like a trigger. Like nothing good in my life happens as a victim. And all good things happen when I take charge, when I show up and move. And it's like, this is my fault. It's my responsibility. 100% of my life is my responsibility. It's only up to me. But then I need help.
Yep. Yeah. It's up to you to start the ball rolling, but you still need a team and people to assist that ball rolling. So I love that. I'm curious, when you were going through all these things, did you ever have any naysayers, people who are just like, nah, you're not going to be successful. You're going to fail at business. You're going to fail in your relationship, whatever that is. Like, did you have naysayers, and then how did you silence them? Because some people, they struggle with that. They have all these grand visions about what they want to accomplish, and then they go and share it with others, and then they get shut down, which can be just as crucial as having somebody believe in you. If you're susceptible to people who are naysayers, then it's still two forms of outer input into you. So how do you silence the naysayer portion and just focus on the mentor and leader that you want?
So I think on the journey with the people around, I think that I've been always I kind of shut down. I only have my kind of very small space. Like here, I have my office that's right here, and I have my wife and I have my kids, and I have my people such as you are talk to, or people on my show, or clients or partners. Like that's my world. That's it. And so I'm very like shutting everything else out, and it's always been like that. But I think the biggest naysayer that has affected me a lot is actually my mom. Because I grew up, I have this very strong memory. I'm basically like 12 years old, and I'm on this kind of 1st of May. She's like strong workers, leader, politician kind of style. And then we were on this kind of feminist demonstration, and then we were singing some song about that women needs to rise up. And I definitely believe in equality and of course all these things. But the image I learned from very early age is that all pain in the world is created by, successful men.
Okay.
So what I learned from very early age, if I become a successful man, my mom will not love me.
Yep.
So, and I said, like, for me, like, I think I was 19 years old when I had my first like 10K salary. And that's what she made in 6 months. As a like kindergarten teacher, doing way better work than I did. I didn't provide any real value. I provided financial value, but not real value to the world. But like, so it started like very like, can I do this? Can I become this? Can I grow into this? And so that's something I need to like check in on once in a while, because it's definitely one of these like success limiters, and it's in my mind, and it comes from that very early age. So like, okay, when I reach this new level of success, is now my self-sabotage kicking in?
Yeah, it's so fascinating because there's, and I've actually been having conversations about this with other people in my life. There's people in my life who respond to me very similar, that the fact that I do make money, I talk about money, I help people with money, it repulses them, right? For lack of a better word. And there's a certain level of realization that has nothing to do with me. That belief had nothing really to do with you. It had everything to do with how your mom felt. So you don't have to adopt that, but you did at some point.
Yeah.
And so it's something we have to check in with. And it's interesting because they see you change, and especially when you go from not making a lot of money into making money, then they're thinking, oh, now my son is X, Y, or Z. And really, you're the same person. You just provided a different level of value in a different area to a different person, but you're all just providing value to people. So fascinating there. I'm curious, what would you say your like along those lines, what do you say your secret weapon has been, either habit, mindset, or behavior, to kind of pull yourself out of, yes, you go check in, but pull yourself out of, if you ever catch yourself subconsciously being self-sabotaged, how do you break free from that?
So I love, for the past, I think 3-4 years, a quote that's been with me a lot is from Tim Ferriss. And it's something along the line, set the bar so low, so you have to get moving. Because there is a big issue, partly in my life, I've been training myself a lot in the past years, and that is to make a decision and take action. Because we have so many opportunities. Again, the shiny object syndrome, it says, you can do this or you can do that. You can go right, you can go left. And as soon as I'm there, I'm stuck. I can only be in that, what's called turn in the road, and I can only think there or there. I can add my plus and minus list and risk and SWOT analysis or whatever, but I'm stuck. It's important. Like, that is the place of being stuck. And the point is that no matter what path I choose, that is path of power, because then I switch the gears from what to how. And how is a creative question. What is a limiting question? Because there are only these alternatives. So whatever I go that way, is it the right way? I don't know, but I make it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Or you'll find out that it's not, and you'll go to the other one because now you know it wasn't, and you move on.
Exactly. But I only get that from feedback, real life feedback.
Right.
And I rebuild the way or choose path or whatever we call it, but it's in the action to get moving. So I think that's, for me, I set the bar really low so I can get, whenever I launched, my one podcast I launched in the autumn, and then I didn't have any good strategy. I didn't have any high goals or anything, but I got it launched. And that was the energy I had now. Then I launched another podcast, like, I think 6 weeks ago. And then I had much bigger, launch strategy. I made it to the top charts and these kind of things. But I didn't with the first one. It wasn't the idea, but I wanted to get going, and I achieved many, many goals along the way. So I think that's, for me, so essential. And I think I always experience that I am actually where I want to be. Mm-hmm. And everything else is an illusion. So if I can, breathe into those parts that are already there, already achieved, then it's okay. And if I feel there's nothing, I have this rule that's super powerful. This is immensely powerful. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, I do.
So here's the rule. If I come with an idea, I got to do this. I must do this now. I got to respond to that. It's got to be fast. If that thought comes up of urgency, I can't.
So if you must, then you can't.
Then I can't. No, exactly. So if that idea comes up, I got to do this now, then my rule is I can't. So that means I got to take a break. I can work on something else, or I go for a walk. I can't, because that is acting out of scarcity, acting out of something else is controlling me. So if I'm not creative, I must be reactive. And then someone else is in control of my life, and I don't want that. I don't mind like God or the higher forces being in control of my life, but in moment to moment, I am in charge. And on the other side, here comes the twist. So if I must, I can't. And if I can't, I must. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I can't do this. I don't know how to do that. No, that's too challenging. It's too hard. It's like, then I must go for it. But then again, it's my choice to do. That's my programming, is that I do not allow myself to go for that limiting belief that I can't.
Sure, and that's and even choosing into and allowing this to be your rule. You created that rule, or you adopted that rule from somebody else. But either way, you subjected yourself to that rule. It wasn't like somebody else said, "Hey, this is now your new rule. If you must, then you can't, and if you can't, then you must." Right? You said, hey, that makes sense for me. I'm going to adopt that into my life because I see the benefit for that. And if at any point in time you stop seeing this benefit you, I'm guessing you would change it and stop doing it because it no longer served you. I love that. So how could we support you? How could we get in contact with you? What are the names of your other podcasts? If we wanted to listen to more of this mindset, I love it. I think that everybody should just go and bathe their soul in this information because it's life-changing.
Thank you. So I have. Can we swear in this show?
You say whatever you want.
Okay. So I started Dadpreneur Revolution podcast. It was in the autumn, as I said, and that's the purpose of 4 things. It's to support dads, dad first, business owners later, to create businesses where they can put their family first, where they can generate great profits, live their passion and purpose, and leave a legacy.
Nice.
So I call it a life beyond compromise. So we go into choice. Should I do this? Should I do that? And I'm sure you know that. I was like, that's again a scarcity mindset. Why not have all? Why be successful or have a happy marriage? Like, let's do both. Let's and eat good food and be fit. Let's do both. We don't need to need to choose that. So that's the kind of idea. And then there I interview amazing dads with businesses about all kind of topics about mental health, taking care of children, business, marketing, is like everything that it relates to dad with the business, basically. And then I started a mission that is very kind of getting closer to my soul purpose. And that is a show called Show the Fuck Up. And that is to free men from the prison of playing small. So they were working 4 areas, and that's purpose, passion, power, and profit. And the goal of this is to empower men to take action every day. So this is a super action-oriented show. Most episodes are 6 minutes long, and we go through a problem that most men has. We go through the solution and present an action, an actionable thing that men can do that takes 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes 5, sometimes it takes 20. They can do every day to grow into their potential, grow into their power, grow into their purpose, passion, and profit every day. And it's super powerful. This show is new, and I've been for the past 30 days, I've been committing to do 100% of the challenges. 100%. And the exponential growth is ridiculous. Like, I just had this thought. I went to bed last night and I was, brushing teeth, looking in the mirror. It's like, wow, my life has never been this good.
That's awesome.
And it's like, why? What happened? And I've been working a lot in all areas of my life for 1.5 decades, and that is the difference. Like, every day I set upon a challenge that is uncomfortable, that makes a stretch for myself, and I take a very measurable action, because I need to finish it, and I'm accountable. So, and I'm reporting it every day that I'm doing this action. And it's all kinds of things, from workout to speaking about sex with my wife to doing financial planning. It's like everything. But it's massive. So I'm really inviting any listener to show the fuck up, to Show the Fuck Up show. Definitely.
Awesome. I love it. That's so cool. And then do you do also coaching like internationally, or is it more localized to Sweden?
Yeah, it's very, very international. So it's mainly dads with businesses. And now I'm also launching so many things there, but I'm also launching the best way that coaches or consultants can become profitable when they're starting out. Because usually it takes, for me, I said it took 8 months before I got profitable every month, but now I'm launching a strategy that actually makes people profitable within a month.
Awesome.
So that's very revolutionary, and it's about to come up. It's not launched yet, but I'm really excited about it. And cool. People I can put a link in the show notes or something like that, and you can check it out. It's gonna revolutionize the life for a lot of coaches.
Awesome. Well, that's what we want. We want to be helping people move towards their goal and their passion. So this is the last question. And we've kind of talked a little bit about this. I know you've done meditations about this. It's a little bit different, not just your funeral, but in 6 generations from now. So this is your great grandchildren. They're sitting around the table discussing your life, discussing what your legacy was. What do you want them to be saying? What do you want them to be saying about your legacy 6 generations from now?
I love that. Is it from the Native American speak about the 7 generations, right?
I just
know that?
Came up with it on my own. So I just don't know where else that's coming from.
They say they speak about the future, the past 7 generations, the coming 7 generations. So all their thinking, they do with that kind of mindset. Anyway, I love that question, and for me, I think that I don't know what the stories will be, but for me, really, the most important thing is that it was a man that lived fully, that chose life, that showed the fuck up.
Awesome. I love it. That's important. And that's, even if that's all that somebody remembers, then they're going to be able to say, okay, he did it, and have you on their wall and say, hey, what would he have done in this situation? How would he have showed up today? how would he have lived in the moment? How would he have stayed centered and grounded? So love that. Thank you so much for all of your help. Show notes are going to be there. And have fun trying to say his last name. I don't think you ever said your last name.
Mattias, my full name is Mattias Fyrörn.
Yeah, I did not say it that way. So
you didn't say Fyrörn.
No, you did it better than me. Awesome. Hey, well, thank you so much. And we'll catch you guys next time on Fuel Your Legacy. Thanks for joining us. If what you heard today resonates with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me. And if you do give me a shout out, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode. Thanks to all of those who've left a review. It helps spread the message of what it takes to build a legacy that lasts. And we'll catch you next time on Fuel Your Legacy.